filming a film for Mustad, and we're with Leslie. Leslie has got an event horse, quite a high-level event horse that's had an injury and been off for some time. So now we've got to get back to work, you know, and it's time to come up with a shoeing plan. So Leslie, what happened with your pony?
She was in a competition, an eventing competition, and had a little trip between two fences and damaged her superficial digital flexor tendon.
Okay, that's cool. So it was a trauma injury, probably not a repetitive strain injury. They had sudden onset of lameness.
Yeah.
So you've gone through the process with the veterinarians,
yeah,
of having ultrasounds and...
Yes, she's been on box rest now for 8.5 weeks, and we've gone through we do walking in hand exercise twice a day. We're up to 40 minutes twice a day now, and she's got a scan next week, and we're going to start riding her then, just walking out exercise.
So what we'll do now, we'll take her outside to the arena, give us a chance to have a walk up and get an idea how she's moving, if there's anything special that we want to do in the shoeing process. So it's really important that we do our dynamic assessment. As she's walking away, I can see that the cannon bones are inside of vertical. There's a rotation in the hock and the fetlock. So this isn't really good. So we'll have a look at that, whether we need to do anything with the trimming or with the shoe. We're also looking at a horse that's very unfit right now. It's been stable rested for 8 weeks. So, you know, we're also looking at a little bit of weakness. As she's coming back, I'm looking at how the feet are landing and loading, whether the fetlock is loading to the center or to the side. So we haven't got a bad loading in front, but it's the hinds that we're going to focus on. So if we trot this time, we'll just have a look at how it looks at trot. And we're still going a little bit narrow, and we still got a little rotation. So now I'm having the horse trot past me. I just want to see how it's tracking up, moving about evenly. And yeah, we got a nice even gait. She's quite relaxed. Nothing untoward there, breakover looks good. So now we can go to our static assessment and get the shoeing underway. Well, we've got a horse here, not terrible conformation. We've got quite compact feet, and we don't have much on the feet. We've got a little bit of an offset in at the fetlock, but not a big amount. But we just normalize it, keep everything towards center. So we'll probably give just a little bit of shoe around the outside. If we go to the bottom of the foot, we don't have too much to trim off. We've got a little bit of cleaning up of the bars, a little bit of cleanup on the frog. The sole is already down level with the hoof wall, and there's not much sole there. She was a little bit footsore on the rocks coming up to the shoeing area. When I look at the medial lateral balance, so I put the fetlock underneath the elbow and I look down the foot, and because of her conformation, she's been breaking off a little bit more to the medial toe. So we've got a little bit more height just on the outside heel quarter. So we'll deal with that when we trim, or get as much as we can. But this is the type of foot that many farriers have presented to them. When we're presented with this type of foot, it's not how much we do, it's what we do. So the first thing I do is, I don't normally physically do this, but I visualize 2 dots. I find the widest point of the white line where it bends in, and I put a line across. So I just visualize a dot there. Then I look at the average hoof wall thickness, and I come forward of that, and I visualize a dot there. If I put a line across, I don't normally take the time to put a line across, but if I look at, that's the middle of my articular surface of P3. If I measure from there forward, okay, and there to the end of the heels, we can see it's just a little bit bigger in front. So we've got a little bit of heel to come off, so that will start to make the palmar part of the foot larger, so it'll give us more support. So we've got a little bit of heel to come off, nothing off the toe. I won't want to set this shoe back. I'm just going to fit it to the perimeter, but I will roll the toe, which will give us a mechanical advantage. So that will give us a mechanical advantage by decreasing the surface area in the front, and it'll help us roll over at breakover. So I trim off the excess frog. Got to be careful not to over trim it. but there's little flaps here and there, and I'll take the flaps away so it's healthy. Clean it out. Now I'll just take the bar down, just leaving it just a little bit higher than the sole, not much, but just a little bit higher the sole, and define it into the cedar corns. Same on this one. It's trying to make the bars to be symmetrical. So what we do to one, hopefully we're able to do on most times to the other, so that we end up with a fairly symmetrical trim. Then I'm just cleaning out my cedar corn. And when we clean out the cedar corns, what they should end up basically looking like is the Palmer processes of P3, the wings of P3. We can see basically an imprint of P3 right there. And that's a bit, just getting to visualize of what the internal structure looks like. Now I'm going to look for the target area of where I'm going to trim the heels to. I look for the highest and the widest point of the frog. And so there we got somewhere where we can trim the heels to. It's a target that you might not reach. On this horse, I think it's quite achievable, but on some horses, if you try to trim the heels back to the ideal place, you're going to get in trouble. I'll just nip off the end of the heels. Really, feet are really nice and hard. Now I'll take my heller. Now I'm not going to try and rasp it all. I'm going to have some low bits, because if I keep rasping to try and make everything flat, I'm going to end up over trimming the sole. I always trim a little bit, and then I'll have a look at my balance again, see how I want to improve it. And I always take it from between my legs when I'm looking at balance. I always get it lined back up. What I don't do is look at it like this, because that doesn't give me an idea of alignment. I'm listening with the rasp, because sometimes you'll hear gravel in the foot, and it's really important, if you've got gravel in the white line, that you take it out. If you have to, you can take a nail and you can clean out the white line to make sure there is no gravel in there. So now when I shape my foot, I shape it from toenail to toenail. That's basically how I put my first radius in. I go toenail to toenail and I follow the shape of the coronary band. I'm not trying to thin the wall, I'm just trying to put a little bit of flow in it and take the ragged edges off. Then I go from toenail to quarters and quarters to heel. And I'm trying to make a really flowing shape, make it easy to fit. And I'll leave plenty of hoof wall to be able to drive my nails. So there we've got my trim. We've hardly touched the toe. Okay, so we got our defined cedar corns, we got strong bars, we've got our white line cleaned out, we've got a flat foot, nice surface for the shoe to go onto. We just got a little rolled edge that I can roll the edge of the toe of the shoe. That will give me weight bearing on that part as well. So there we've got a trim foot. And I'm constantly checking the level and the balance. Level is flat, balance is the plane that it's on. And so I'm constantly looking at both. And I'm going to just take a little bit more off the inside heel. But I'm constantly checking this until I nail my shoe on. The last time I finish the trimming is the moment I nail the shoe on. So I'm allowed to change it right till the end. I like to take off any flares and clean the hoof wall. Well, I can see a little bit of flare on the inside, which I'm going to just take back a little bit. And I polish the foot to just above the level of where I'm planning to drive my nails. So I plan the level of where I'm going to drive my nails, and I visualize a line around that I'm going to dress the foot up to. I don't want to polish it to the top unnecessarily. And because we don't have much to remove, I'm going to start with the smooth side of the rasp. Because if I start with the rough side, I'm going to put rasp marks in that I'm going to have to take out. So I'm going to go with the smooth side of the rasp to start, because I don't have much to remove. You can see a glossiness to it. I connect each movement to the next so that I'm getting a really nice, smooth radius surface. So we've got a nice smooth hoof wall. We've got no marks in it, and we haven't polished too high, and we can visualize where our nails are going to come out into a nice dressed finished surface. Now I've got to choose a shoe that's suitable for the horse and for the work that it's doing. Well, it's a light horse. It doesn't have strong feet. So I'm looking for a light shoe. So I've chosen a Libro concave, and it's 22 mil wide. It'll give a bit of sole coverage, so it'll protect the sole a little bit. Because it's got weak walls, I've chosen 2 clips, okay? I'm going to fit the shoe to the perimeter, but the 2 clips will just take a little bit of the stress off the nails, because I'm going to use the smallest nails possible. So, choosing the size of the shoe, well, I've been over there. I could either put on the 0 or the 1. They would both work, and if the horse was competing and heavy at work, I might go to the smaller size because of the potential shoe loss in an event. Where right now, with the horses working slowly, building up fitness, I'm going to go to the bigger shoe, give a little bit more support. And so through a season, I would be looking at changing shoes, changing style of shoe, changing size of shoe. All those things are options, okay? It's not, this is the package for this horse, 12 months of the year for the next 10 years, because it worked once. It's being totally open-minded that we do have to change our shoeing package with the season, with the age of the horse, with different surfaces. So right now, Libro concave with side clip front. So I'm going to put the shoes in the fire. I use a blacksmith forge. I'm just going to use 1 burner because I don't want to get too much heat in the forge unnecessarily, and I'm looking for economy. So I'll just use one burner when I'm fitting shoes. If I've got to do a lot of forging or welding, then I'll go to 2 burners. But it's really important that we turn the gas up and down and adjust the pressure so that the forge is working at the speed that we're working at. There's no point in frying the shoes up and making the shoes look really scaly unnecessarily. So I've just got 1 burner switched on, and so it's just got, the one I've got has just got a vent on one side. It's got a vent so it directs the heat, so I can either have a bigger port for putting shoes in, or I can put the slide on the side and that gives me a smaller vent. So I typically use the smaller vent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the toe. That says take the edge off right round to the second nail hole so they can break over to the side. They're not always going straight. So I've rolled the toe. Then I'm going to the very edge of the toe, I'm just going to rock it up a little bit because the foot's a little bit worn off at the toe. That will have an advantage too. And then I'm going to shape the shoe. And I check how wide the foot is. And it's very important that we do check how wide the foot is because it saves us too many journeys. So I know what I'm aiming for shoe width. I don't have to worry, the shoe comes out with seating, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll set the clips to the angle of the hoof wall. Get it level. And mark my outside heel so I don't get them mixed up. So I'll just take my shoe to the foot. When I fit, I look over the front first and I burn back until the shoe comes back to the perimeter of the toe. So I'm burning back, not down. Try not to overburn. Back, check my clip fits. Yep, my clip on the outside just needs a little bit more setting. So I'll just go back to the anvil, a couple of taps. Now back to the foot. It really helps checking the width of the shoe before you go to the foot the first time. It's no good going there with a shoe that's 5 millimeters too wide. You just wasted a trip. Okay. Got my clips burned in. I still see I got sole relief. There's no pressure on the sole. I left enough there. There's a gap underneath the sole. Heel fits are good. So now I can just cool that out. What I do like to do is take the edge of the burn mark off. Clean out my cedar corn. Just lightly take off the edge of the burn mark. And there was a, yeah. So we've got it burned on, we've got a nice even burn. It's important that we're not burning on too long, okay? So we keep removing the shoe while we're burning. So I'm just checking my fit so I can box it off with the finisher and clean up the inside heel a little bit. But yeah, I got a nice fit, my clips are in, and I follow the foot. So now it's just a final cleanup. Got my material, let's get it cut to size, basic cut to size first. So I got to cut it for the clips. Got the clip fit. Okay, we've got the clips fit. So now what can be a useful tip is a spray glue. Put this on and stick it to the surface. This holds it in place a little bit better, and then we can trim the outside. And you've got these little frilly edges that can be hard to get rid of. So I'll just run a linisher around them and take the edges off. So this way you can see once you've nailed it on, there's no frilly edges that we often see with the mesh material. It just makes a prettier job. So now I've got to choose a nail. Well, I'm going for a small nail. We don't have big, thick hoof walls. We've got quite a light shoe, so I'm going to go for an ESL 3, and it's a copper nail. So it just, when you drive the nails and it's a bit of a wet time of year, you'll find that the area around the nail holes is really clean when you come back. But I tend to use a coated nail, either the copper or the Enduro, all the time. So we're going for a small nail. We'll nail the shoe on, we'll put a foam pad on, and then we'll fill it with comfort mix. What I'm going to do now, just before I nail the shoe on, I'm going to put a little bit of medication in the middle of the frog where it got the cavity. Let's put a little bit there, a little bit down the sides. So I've got the mustard hoof hygiene, and then I'll just dry it out so that it's not runny. Got my shoe in position. I tend to drive nails randomly, but I do aim them. So I make a decision on where they're coming out. I aim it, take the time to aim every nail. This one I'm going to drive the two toenails. Two toenails need to be the same height. Okay. Heel nail. Yeah. And so I want all my nails in a line if I can get them. My nails all driven in a line, hopefully, yep. So I'll tighten the nails. Some people use a block, I use my pull-offs. Now we can clinch it. So the first thing I do is I like to cut my nails to length. So I cut them with the nippers this way. That way it cuts the nails square. If I turn them the other way, it cuts the nail to a point, and then I have to rasp it. So I cut my nails to length, and then I take my hoof gouge and I go under each one. Not too big. I don't want loose clinches either. I want them to go into the hoof wall. Okay, got my nails there. Just need to pull that one down just a little bit and cut it to length again. Okay. I take my clinches, I put it on, I squeeze together and pull up, and it goes in flush. Just a little bit of cleaning with the rasp. Don't want to over polish them. A really nice finish. Underline. And now you can see what I mean about you got no ragged edges with the mesh. So I'll take a polishing, I'll go around the foot, give it a quick polish, Then at the very end, I'll just put some hoof dressing on. But I won't put the hoof dressing on right now because I don't want to get any grease on the mesh. Now I'm going to put a comfort mix into the sole. It's going to give a little bit more protection and support at the heels. It'll be weight sharing. So I've got a comfort mix and I can put this in. I put the mesh under ready to hold it. I've got some duct tape to go across the heels so it doesn't run out the heels. I've got my nozzle ready and I've got my foam board. Once I put my foam board on, I'll let it stand on it so that the foam board sinks into the shoe so it doesn't have a full fill. So I'll go and put my foam board on first. Put my foam board on and I'll let the horse stand on it. And this foam sinks into the foot. So now I've got a little bit of a recess. I'll have a look and look down it. It won't be quite as much as I want. So as I'm filling it, I'm going to push down in the middle of the foam board so that the comfort mix has a sole shape. So it's not flat with the shoe. So we've got a comfort mix. We've got the holding ring. So I'll take the holding ring off. I'll take the stopper out. I'll save the stopper just in case I want to seal the cartridge. I'll put my nozzle on. It only fits one way, so don't force it. Look to see the small side and the big side. Put your holding ring back on. I want to put a little mix right through the thing to make sure that we've got a proper mix. Okay, so I've got a proper mix, and then I'll come back in at the back. I'll push it underneath the heel of the pad and I'll start running it in. And I'll run it in. Then I'll push down in the middle and it'll start coming back to the end of the heels. I'm closing a little cavity in it just with my thumb. A little bit of duct tape across the back. And then we can drop it down. We'll take the pad off later. So we've just finished the first segment of shoeing the Eventer. This one's coming back into work. Used a variety of products and each one's been chosen for a specific reason. We wanted a shoe that was lightweight but gives a little bit of traction. We've added the feature of a rolled toe and rolled edge. We've put a comfort mix in to support the frog and weight share, give a little bit of protection to the sole where we've been sore. We've nailed it on with ESL 3 nails so that we don't have much wall displacement. We've used copper nails because we just want to have a little bit less decay around the nails. So each thing's been chosen for a reason. We're going to go on and we're going to do part 2 now of shoeing the hind feet of this Eventer horse.